I think if I had to describe my attitude towards politics in one word, I would say it would be uninterested. From a young age, I just haven't really had any care for the political world, and I think I would maybe attribute this to it not being like fun and it being too serious.
Of course, it's going to be difficult to find a 13-year-old who is interested in new tax reform plans. But that's exactly the point. What comes to mind when I say the word politics? Probably many of you think of something like a man in a suit talking about taxes, laws, or the people.
Government, along with economics, I call the adulting class. And so what are the things that you feel like you need to know when you go out? And so it's more practical stuff that I didn't quite realize. Like, I started bringing in my ballot, and then I remember when we were doing it over Zoom, like I took pictures so people could see what a ballot looks like, and like kind of demystifying some of that process. When young people are first have the right to vote, they think, why should I? It won't make that much of a difference. And the older they get, the more they do it.
Younger generations have always voted at lower rates, even before 1971 when the voting age was lowered from 21 to 18. And today, just under half of 20-somethings vote in general elections. But this was about the same amount of that age group that voted in 1980. So yeah, when baby boomers were in their 20s, they also didn't vote.
However, in the last 10 years, it has jumped up significantly.
Thanksgivings, for sure, when it would be with the whole family. We have one side is somewhat conservative and the other's kind of liberal. Sometimes there would be like debates, and I wouldn't say tense, but I tend to stay away from trying to get into arguments and stuff, so all that stuff kind of put me off. It's important and people should know about, but a lot of times it might be like forced on you, and people like to kind of back out and want no part of.
I'm really torn because I would like there to be dedicated money and requirements towards civics, which is this whole topic, but I don't want a test of civics that says this is what being a good citizen looks like. So I'm really torn because yes, I want it to be more important. I think social studies is more important than all the other topics. Don't tell all the other teachers. Because how we get along as people and how we try to shape our future together, I think is more important than all the other topics.
I'd say my view on politics are pretty similar to my peers in that there's kind of a general uninterest in the political world and current events, and not only interest, but also just a lack of knowledge on kind of what's going on. 70
years ago, in the 50s, did the newspaper arrive at the house and there were people in the house who only picked up the sports page? Yes, absolutely. That happened, right? And when you put on the news, starting in the 50s, and you would ignore all of the information except for the sports information, but you had it on. And in the newspaper, you had to look at the front page in order to get to the sports section.
With social media nowadays, what you are specifically interested in, you can kind of tailor your interest to what you see. So I'm a soccer player, I love sports, I follow tons of sports pages, and so that's like all I see. If I was someone interested in politics, I'd see only politics.
So what social media allows you to do is literally only hear about one thing. But if I'm listening to Morning Edition on NPR as I'm getting ready for the day, they're going to do sports, they're going to do pop culture, they're going to do news inside the country, news outside the country, and it's just in the background. Maybe I tune out the stuff I'm not as interested in, but I'm getting some of that context. In the 80s, we were protesting people's involvement with the South African government, and that was first when divestment was used a lot, was divesting from the South African government, anybody involved in apartheid. It's really interesting because sometimes young people care the most about the things that affect them personally, right? Where they see wages, or they see taxes, or they see people getting arrested. But I also think that young people have a great capacity for empathy and understanding of what's happening around the world.